had the great pleasure of working with James. And one thing to know about James is he is very efficient. Within the first couple of days of Bluestamp, I saw James working on his computer a lot rather than his Raspberry Pi. I went over to him and I talked to him, and he told me that he was working on his computer because he wanted to do his homework project on his computer first and then transfer it to his Raspberry Pi. And he cited the reasons of my computer is faster, it'll be easier because I don't have to continuously transfer files between the computer and the Raspberry Pi, and also he can take his computer home. And so it's this kind of methodical thinking that led me to believe that James will have a very polished, finished product. So without further ado, here's James.
Hi everyone, my name is James Dye, and I'm a rising senior to Lynbrook High School, and my project is the inventory tracker. I got this project from the base project of the custom object detection system, and basically what it is, it's a Raspberry Pi connected to a camera, and it's able to then identify custom classifications. Let me just demonstrate this right now. So after starting the Pi, I'm able to then scan for specific objects. In my case, it's actually just computer parts, and it's able to recognize the classification. After around 60 frames, it immediately just stops and it gives the current image a classification. As you can see here, it says this is RAM and this is correct. If it was incorrect, I can manually adjust this classification to whatever classification I wanted. Like if I say I wanted to, if this was actually a power supply, I can switch it to that classification. After doing so, I can then add this into my database of parts, and this is where the inventory comes in. After adding it to the inventory, I'm able to give this new item a specific name as well as a price value. I'll just put it like a basic name and a price. And after adding these values, it shows up here as a input value that I can then place into the build classes. With some other objects that I've already inserted into the database, I can then create a build by having at least one object in one of the classes, but I can place up to one object in each of the classes. And let's say I have these three objects, and I can then create a new build. This build is then stored in a data. It's recorded in the database, and you're able to then access this build. It will be the latest build number. So after getting to this build number, you can then click the See Build button, and it will generate a materials list over here, as you can see. It will give you the classification, the specific name, as well as the price. And then they also have a total price, and if you want, after you sell the build, you can mark it as sold with a specific sold price, and then it will display here as well. You can also additionally add more objects into each build after creating one if you wanted to. Another important aspect of my project is the ability for it to improve on itself in the object identification process. It's able to, after you manually adjust the classification, it records every single image taken into specific folders that have the specific classification you gave it. If it originally gave you the right classification, you can also just keep at the original correct classification. For instance, the image we just took right now is just this temp 9 image, and it's shown here, and it's put into this RAM folder. After 200 images are taken, I automatically send this to a Node.js server on my computer, and then it's able to retrain the model and then send a new model into the Raspberry Pi, which the Pi will then automatically now use this new model. This allows my model to be more accurate and precise, and this is really helpful in having a more useful project. Some modifications I made from the original project is this retraining process, as well as the whole adding to inventory thing. Like some problems I faced when doing this whole project is that initially the data set I used to train my model was not very large, and specifically in some classifications, such as like the SSD class, there was only like 10 to 20 images. This caused the model to be not very accurate because it didn't have many examples, and as a result I had to make the retraining process so then it can just improve it by itself as time passes, because then you'll have more images as reference. What I learned from Bluestamp through this whole project is like the whole process of debugging stuff specifically. Like throughout the whole process, even from the beginning, I wasn't really familiar with Python or like even just installing the libraries required. And like I ran into many issues just like based on having not the correct libraries installed. But I was able to like figure all of this out by myself through like Google searches and other things. And now I'm able to like fix a lot of issues by myself on these like large programs I have. What I want to do in the future with this project is, as you can see, the GUI here isn't the greatest, and like the output is also like really ugly. So I want to just improve this and like add a display on my actual project as well as input on my project. Thank you all for listening. Let me know if you have any questions.
So you mentioned that you wanted to improve the display. Do you know how you would go about that, or what that would look like?
Yeah, I plan on just adding like a touch display onto this actual Pi, and then I would then be able to like touch to input, and then also like see an actual thing. And from the terminal output right now, I want to switch that to just displaying it on a GUI and then printing down the display, the touch display.
Where did you get the classification model from? Did you also work on that? Or
Sorry, what?
where did you get the classification model?
Yeah, so I actually just took images from a data set on this website called Kaggle, and then I plugged that into Google's, it's called Teachable Machine, and it's able to generate you a object classification model using the images you give it, and you can input like other values like the epochs and batch size as well as learning rate.
What was your motivation for this project?
I initially wanted to choose the object recognition project because I was really interested in like learning how to train a model, because I've never done it before. I've seen like videos on it. I thought it was really interesting, and I just wanted to try it out.